Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode on Young Race Predictor. Today, we are going to be doing the predictions for round 10 of this season, the Canadian Grand Prix predictions that's going to take place. Do me a favor before we dive right in, do hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this with all your friends and all the Formula 1 fans we know. And with that being said, let's jump right into the first segment where the ultimate unexpected delight. And I have gone for Lewis Hamilton. I feel Hamilton is going to have a very good race this time around here in Canada. I have a feeling even if the Ferrari may be incredibly slow, if Charles Leclerc can do very well even with a very bad car, Lewis Hamilton can also do it, especially in those kind of OG tracks where he's very good in terms of racing and in terms of maneuvers across the corners. So in my opinion of Lewis Hamilton, his season almost started last weekend in Barcelona. I just hope it did start last weekend in Barcelona, just like how we did last year in Spain. So I feel this time around here in Canada, round 10 of the 24 race calendar, from now on we are going to watch 14 races, possibly at least 90% of it, with a very good performance from Lewis Hamilton starting from this Canadian Grand Prix. Hence I've gone for him as the ultimate unexpected delight. Well, the driver to watch out for, however, is the driver who is one penalty point away, but is if he gets a penalty this weekend, then they could possibly face a race ban. So we just hope not, because he is eyeing for a 4 in a row in Montreal, just like how he eyed for it in Barcelona, where Red Bull, I wouldn't say they took it away, but it could have easily come the way of this driver. Yes, Max Verstappen, the driver to watch out for, the man who's entering this weekend with the hope of winning 4 in a row in Montreal, just like how he did in Suzuka. He won it in Imola. He was so close to winning in Barcelona. For that unnecessary pit stop, else it had gone completely down the wire. And hopefully he does not get a penalty this weekend before he goes into the next race weekend, which I think is in Austria, which is one of the places where the Dutch audience take over the entire stadium. So hopefully this race goes very well the way of Max Verstappen. Hence he's a very important driver to watch out for this weekend. And before into the qualifying grid predictions, there are like almost two new news there. Congratulations for Haas for completing 200 Grand Prix by the end of this weekend. They did come up with a very special livery. Hopefully they do come up with a good performance as well at the same time with that new livery, just like how they did last year during the beginning with a fantastic masterclass from Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hülkenberg. So hopefully it goes well their way as well, but in my predictions it really has not gone their way. So let's dive right into those predictions. But the second news I was going to talk about is with the assumption that Lance Stroll will be racing this weekend, because we are not entirely sure whether Stroll is going to be racing this entire weekend due to this hand injury. If at all he does not race, could it possibly be just one Aston Martin driver driving this entire weekend, or could it be a chance for Felipe Drugovich to finally take up that seat and drive for one Formula 1 Grand Prix this weekend? Well, we are about to find out. This is with the assumption that Lance Stroll does race, because I want him to race in his home Grand Prix. He is actually quite a good racer when it comes to Canada. So this is with the assumption that he does race in his home Grand Prix, but it does not go his way in my predictions when it comes to the ones who will be kicked out of Q1. Franco Colapinto, Gabriel Bortoleto, Ollie Behrman, Nico Hülkenberg, and home hero Lance Stroll. I feel Stroll can finish in the points, but he could maybe be kicked out of Q2, but in my opinion could be only P16. Unfortunately for Lance Stroll, Nico Hülkenberg, so he'll be P17 right alongside the car he had initially driven the previous season, the Haas, belonging to Ollie Behrman in the 200 race they enter this weekend. Ollie Behrman is not going to make it out of Q1. Maybe he may make it out of Q1, because right behind him is a driver who has been able do very good jobs with one of the worst cars present on the grid. Gabriel Bortoleto finishing in P19 for Kick Saber, and Franco Colapinto in P20. These are drivers who, in my opinion, will be kicked out of Q1, while those kicked out in Q2 is Colapinto's teammate Pierre Gasly, Behrman's teammate Esteban Ocon, Fernando Alonso, one who has had a lot of Q3 appearances lately, Carlos Sainz, and Liam Lawson. So I feel this could, if Lawson really wishes to put a drive in the points, maybe he could finish even in the top 10. I'm not saying no at all. It could go the way of Liam Lawson. Carlos Sainz need to put a hell of a lap if he wants to put that Williams into the top 10. Fernando Alonso in P13, the driver who has had a lot of Q3 appearances lately. I mean, he is a driver who's finished in the podium here before in 2023. 2024 I think he did put a decent performance. So I feel maybe Alonso could also make it into the Q3. Who knows? Esteban Ocon in P14 and Pierre Gasly in P15, though I have a high feeling they indeed are going to be in the bottom 10, Ocon ahead of Pierre Gasly in their 200th Grand Prix. So the reason why I feel Lawson and Sainz, even if they do have the potential to make it in the top 10, I feel it is now time for Yuki Tsunoda to actually take up his seat in a little bit of some, I wouldn't say seriousness because he's already trying his best, but he's going to have to put a little bit of consistent performances and possibly even better ones, because if Verstappen does indeed get some kind of a race ban, then Tsunoda would have to take a little bit of some responsibility and some leadership to take that Red Bull to the top positions, just like how Verstappen did, because almost 95-97% of the points scored by Red Bull so far are only by Max Verstappen, and he is in P3 in the World Championship. So I feel Tsunoda needs to get this Q3 appearance at all costs. So I've gone for Tsunoda in P10, Antonelli in P9, Isaac Hadjar doing a fantastic job for VCARB. I feel he's going to be P8 right alongside the another driving driver of this grid, Alexander Albon, who will be P7. The two Ferraris locking the third row, Charles Leclerc right behind Lewis Hamilton. I mean, it could go the other way around as well, but I feel Hamilton, like I said, he's really good in tracks like Canada, Barcelona, China. So I feel Hamilton is going to come ahead of Charles Leclerc in qualifying alone this time about. Lando Norris in P4, a little bit of a shock for the McLaren, who has been performing very well in the top 2 for the last 2 to 3 races. If he needs to have a race that could send him to the podium, he's going to have to start within 3rd place or 4th place, because last time out almost the same thing happened. Plus, he was with the threat that not just now currently his teammate is going to be fighting for top positions, but the two drivers who did pip him off were those who put the exact same lap time and the fastest lap time last time out in Canada, and the same two drivers put the exact same time in Barcelona last weekend. So I have gone for them to be in the top 3. Max Verstappen, in P3, and George Russell out beating him in P2 this time about. And of course, from this you have understood that the pole position, in my opinion, is going to Oscar Piastri. Piastri is unbeatable. He's doing a very good job. Lando Norris as well is doing quite a decent job, but Piastri on pole, his teammate in 4th, right, and splitting the two McLarens are George Russell and Verstappen, with Russell ahead of him in the front row. Going to be in P3, a little bit of a shock, just like how I went last time out, Lewis Hamilton. P2, instead of Lando Norris, I've gone for Oscar Piastri, and P1, Max Verstappen. I believe Verstappen has equally the same percentage as Oscar Piastri and possibly even Lando Norris to win this weekend, but this weekend is very important for Max Verstappen in case he wants to be part of this Drivers' Championship fight. That 1 point in Barcelona has turned the entire table around, because Verstappen, who was so close in close terms with Lando Norris when it comes to points, just entirely went down and got only 1 point last time out because of a mistake which I would say he made, but easily cost him a lot of positions. From 4th all the way down to 10th, he could have just finished in 4th place, maybe even 5th. Verstappen didn't have to serve the 10-second penalty at all, and he's coming in with that threat that 1 more penalty point he is going to be banned for 1 race, which I really don't want to see happening. I feel Verstappen needs to win this race at all costs. Oscar Piastri also has equally the same amount of chances of winning this Grand Prix. So does Lando Norris. I mean, the last few races, the driver whom I believe would not finish on the podium is the one who's actually won the race. Oscar Piastri won last time out when I predicted Lando Norris to finish on the podium. When I predicted Oscar Piastri would finish on the podium, possibly the win. In Monaco, Lando Norris won the race, and possibly even before that. Now, I really do like to see Lando Norris on the top side of the podium when it comes here to Canada. So, if that curse is indeed real, then I have gone for Lando Norris not finishing on the podium in my predictions, but Piastri finishing in 2nd place. But I am sticking with my P3 prediction, however. Lewis Hamilton going to begin his season now. He's going to be P3 here in Montreal, Piastri in 2nd, but no one going to be defeating the Mad Max, who goes on for the 4th weekend in a row here in Montreal. These are my predictions. The fastest lap going to Oscar Piastri with the minimum DNS on number 3, and the driver of the day going to Lewis Hamilton. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this with all your friends and all the Formula 1 fans if you know. See you next time for the next video, where we talk about the analysis and the top moments and wonders of this Canadian Grand Prix. But until then, tuning in next time, goodbye.